Welcome to section 4.2, registering for hiring. You may not yet be in a place where you want to hire anybody, and that's fine. But you will at some point if you grow your business. So you need to prepare now. Do not wait until you need to hire someone to do any of this. Do this now. Have that infrastructure in place. I could talk for a whole hour or two about this topic. We're not going to do that. We're going to hit some highlights, and you can go read a book, Navigating Your Business Journey Together, do a lot more research on this topic. But let's hit some highlights real quick. To reiterate some earlier slides, before you hire someone, there's a few things going to be in place. You have your EIN number. You registered with the state as a business. You've gotten your EIN number. Your bank accounts are set up. Credit cards are there. You have processes in place. And now you need to open up an account, typically with your state level, the employment or labor department of your state. The nomenclature might be a little different. You're also going to have an unemployment insurance account for the state level, and you're also going to have set up a payment structure so that you're paying federal taxes that you're withholding from those employees, which means you've got to have a payroll system set up, which means you've got to have an employee handbook, which means you've got to have an onboarding system set up. So if you haven't written this stuff out, don't you dare go out and hire anybody, because I'm going to tell you right now, this is where you're going to lose your shirt. People just think they can just go out and willy-nilly. I don't care if it's just your nephew. You can't legally hire and fire people unless you follow the law. And in some states, there are some really, really strict penalties. So if this is not appearing on your radar yet, hopefully this video just joggles your mind and says, hey, this is really, really important. You need to have your act together, because I worked with a lot of business owners in my 20 years. And every one of them, without fail, skip this part. I've seen multi-million businesses hire people with no onboarding process, no employee handbook that's up to date and active, no genuine process of HR. So what you got to do is, once you get your accounts registered at the state and the federal level, which is basically with the employment department and labor department of your state, you need to meet with a professional HR person. Just go ahead and put that on your list, because unless you're that person, you don't know what you're doing. Heck, I've owned businesses, I've hired employees, and you bet your bottom dollar I am going to be working with somebody that keeps up to date with the changing laws in your state related to HR. It is that serious. Hiring your first employee, or even an independent contractor, comes with legal responsibilities that many new business owners they're unaware of. So here's what you need to know to stay compliant and avoid penalties. Keep in mind, this is a 50,000-foot view, right? So let's talk about first the new hire reporting. Most states are going to require you to report any new employee you hire to the state's Department of Labor or Child Support Enforcement Office, whatever it's called, within a specific number of days, usually 20 or less. This helps the state enforce child support orders and monitor unemployment insurance eligibility. The process is usually quick and can be done online. Even if you're only hiring one part-time worker, this still applies. And so second, there's the federal Form I-9. This form is used to verify that your employee is legally allowed to work in the U.S. You'll need to collect documents from the employee, like a passport and a combination of driver's license and social security card. And you got to complete this form usually within 3 or 4 business days of that start date. While you don't send it to the government, you are required to retain it on file for at least 3 years or so, and you have to make it available for inspection if requested. So you got to have your act together before you start hiring people. Make sure there's organization in place. Make sure there's the employee handbook. There's a payroll process set up. There's onboarding. You want to make sure you're following those laws and be fair and square. You also need to follow the wage and hour laws, that you get the worker classification right. This is where most owners mess up big time. They misclassify a worker as an independent contractor when they should legally be an employee. And this is an expensive mistake. I'll tell you a story. Guy was a piano teacher. He was a music teacher, and he had a consortium online several years ago of all these teachers. And they were teaching remote out of their homes, and this was way before COVID. And he would get the students and then assign those students to those particular teachers, and those teachers even have students of their own. So in a lot of cases, they looked like they were independent contractors. Well, one of those teachers quit work and actually filed for unemployment in the state that they're in, and the state dived into the situation and realized that business owner hadn't been paying employment insurance. Well, duh, he was hiring them out as independent contractors. The IRS got involved, and they classified him classified all of those workers as employees and not contractors. And he had to go back and pay all his taxes. He had a lot of fees, ended up losing his home and even his family because of the financial problems. This stuff is really expensive. You don't want to play around with it. So generally, if you control how and when the person works, you provide the tools or the training or integrate them into your daily operations, they're likely an employee, even if they're part-time. And you're responsible for complying with those minimum wage laws, the overtime rules, and providing paper documentation like pay stubs and W-2s. So bottom line, hiring adds a layer of complexity, but it's manageable if you plan ahead. Talk to your payroll provider, the CPA, or HR advisor. Make sure you do this early. Don't wait until someone's already on your team.